Everyone, we wanted to take a quick moment to thank all the listeners, the viewers, and of course the patrons out there. The team here at Vector Sigma hopes that we can bring a little levity and a distraction from the weight of the real world. Time is always precious, but that has become even more obvious now. We want to say that we really do appreciate everyone out there that's spending their time with us.
Alright guys, welcome back to VectorSigma.Info. Dan here. Today I'm going to go through one of the decks that I've been playing on stream the last couple weeks. I call it Percptor Prime. And what Percptor Prime is Perceptor. And we'll get a little bit better of a dealing here. This is the card that I created. I've been having a lot of fun with it. It's a pretty stellar card. If you haven't seen it yet, this is it. You get to have Perceptor in alt mode. Start the game, you're going to flip, you're going to move to body mode, and then that's normal for right now. Then you get to flip back to alt mode, and once you flip back to alt mode, you get to reveal the top 4 cards of your deck, and your opponent then has to separate them into 2 piles. You get to choose one that goes to your hand and one that goes under Perceptor. For his body mode, that he gets +1 attack for every card that's under him. This gets pretty scary sometimes, and it's pretty challenging for everyone involved, whether you're the guy separating the piles or you're the guy choosing the piles. It's a very interesting mechanic, and it's a lot of fun, and it's really tough. It's really skill intensive, which is, for what it's worth, exactly what I was going for. My other guy here is the normal General Prime, and then lastly we have Brawn, and this is Brawn here. Brawn is he's an interesting new 5-drop character for Autobots that have never really had a defined Autobot character for the 5 stars. And I believe Brawn has a chance to really get into that position and into that place. He's a really strong character. Whenever you tap to attack with him in alt mode, for every pip color that you reveal, he gets that much pierce. So in a deck with General Optimus, he gets bold 1. So like in your first turn, your attack, you may end up getting 4 pierce 4, more often than not, and then you'll be impressed with the amount of damage that Brawn does. And with his 2 defense, the amount of damage he takes, and he's actually able to live and survive. And it can get pretty scary, actually. He's a pretty fun character to mess with. And last but not least, our head is going to be Kreb. He's a 1-star head, just to give us 9-star Perceptor, 11-star General Optimus, and 5-star Brawn. Kreb's just +2 health, so you get Perceptor at 14 health. And, he's just a 2/2 body after Perceptor is gone. Now, let's get into the meat here. Alright, we're going to start with our weapons. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lay out the older cards first, and then I'm going to introduce the newer cards and talk about them a little bit. As I said, this is a mixed pip color deck. We're really trying to utilize Optimus Prime and everything he has to offer for us. These are the weapons that I have currently in the deck: 2 Energon Axe, 1 Armed Hovercraft, 2 Grenade Launcher, 2 Sturdy Javelin, 1 Enforcement, 1 Nobles Blaster. It's very well rounded. You'll notice really quickly that with Perceptor and the amount of times that you're flipping and you're seeing cards, you're always gonna get to choose cards. So like the more options you have for game state is 2 things. It's more complicated for your opponent to play against it, and it's it gives you so much more leeway of deck decisions, because there's gonna be times where you need a javelin, but then there's times where you just need armed hovercraft because you want to do spread damage. Every once in a while, you're gonna get your free grenade launcher for attack. You're like, oh, I just need 4 attack this turn. Great. Later on in the game, you want to find those Energon Axes so you can make them stick and make them last. And then obviously the greens are still greens and you can still find them whenever, but when in doubt, they're fine. Specifically in this deck, the Nobles Blaster is absolutely incredible for your Brawn. Like I said before, Brawn here has a base 3 attack, so all of a sudden if you put Nobles Blaster on him, it gives him the 5 attack and already Pierce 2. Now when you flip, 2-3 more Pierce, all of a sudden you're looking at a Pierce 5, Pierce 6. I have had it to a Pierce 7 on more than one occasion throughout the weeks of playing. This card is ridiculous in this deck particular, so Nobles Blaster is definitely a really fun card for Brawn. No new weapons here. This deck isn't utilizing any of the new weapons, unfortunately. Alright, let's move to our utility slot. We have 3 Matrix Leadership, and that's it. The 3 Matrix, you know, your Optimus Prime is a leader, and then once again, you know, this plus Brawn, just a free Pierce 1, plus 1 attack, so, you know, all of a sudden, just those numbers of Pierce just add up and add up. Our armors, we got 1 Sturdy Armor, which is a Specialist Armor. Your Perceptor in alt mode is a Specialist, and it gives you plus 2 bonus for your range. So in certain matchups, you know, when you only have 1 armor in your body mode, so if you can get to 3 armor against range characters, it's a lot of help for Perceptor. There is some thought to playing a reflex circuits also, just because there's a lot of more melee characters running around, so it's kind of the same scenario of maybe you want a reflex circuit instead of a sturdy armor, or maybe you want 1 of each. Tough choice. 2 bashing shield. This is another thing, you know, there's 2 bashing shield in the deck, which is kind of a mainstay for a lot of orange decks in the past. I'm not sure if you still need 2 of these. 1 might just be fine. A, it's a green. B, you have Perceptor, so when in doubt, you can Perceptor it. Now, ideally, this isn't the card you ever really want to have to get with Perceptor, because if your opponent knows that you need a bashing shield off your Perceptor, that means your piles are not going to be very favorable, and you're just going to be like, oh, well, I have to take this now because I don't have a better option. And that's not a whole lot of fun. Alright. Every single Perceptor deck will have 3 of this card. Showing off is just... it's unreal. Every single time you flip this with Perceptor, your opponent's going to cringe, and every time you play it with Perceptor, your opponent's going to cringe again. This is how you get ridiculous games, and it's just almost unfair sometimes, where you'll have games where you'll have 10, 11, 12 cards underneath Perceptor if you play multiple showing offs in a game, and it's pretty easy to do because, once again, every time you flip a Perceptor, you flip 4 cards. So every time you flip 1, and then all of a sudden you see this, you're probably going to take it 9 out of 10 times, and then you're going to do it again. And your Perceptor is just going to keep building and keep building and keep getting bigger, and it honestly gets pretty scary. Since we are a mixed deck, we decided to go with checkpoints. As you see, like, we have a fair amount of upgrades and actions, but it's just a matter of once you're set up and you can easily just checkpoint, because like you can checkpoint and then flip Perceptor and then get more upgrades, and it's not like a big deal. You're not really losing anything, and if you don't get upgrades, then your opponent has to put weird piles together again. So like chances are you're just gonna easily refill your hand. It's the same thing with like Jetfire from Siege 2. Like you just play checkpoint and then flip your Jetfire and Treasure Hunt. It's the exact same concept here. You just play checkpoint and then flip your Perceptor, and you end up getting more upgrades through there. I have a 1-of Disarm. You'll see this is a common thing throughout the deck. There's a lot of 1-ofs. It's the same concept. Like, this card is just a blowout against certain matchups. So, like, having 1 of it doesn't hurt you at all. And when you need it, it's there. And when you get it, it's amazing. Same thing with Reclaim. There has been awkward situations where, like, I want specifically an upgrade. So, like, I can just reclaim it to the top and then flip Perceptor. It's not spectacular because it's a very, like, read play where it's like, well, your opponent knows what you want, so they're going to separate the piles, like, to favor that. But sometimes, you know, this could just be good enough. And it's like, well, if my turn is just get this upgrade and then whatever else my opponent gives me, that's fine because I need to do it type thing. For secret actions, there's some hidden fortifications and some sabotage armaments and a step forward. And I believe, yeah, there's a couple other ones along the way. But these are, once again, I'm kind of going old cards to work in the new cards, but this is like a 5-card package here. The step forward, you would be shocked how often the Brawn survives like more than 1 hit, even sometimes. So like either this is just going to be a free Brawn step, or it's even going to be a free Optimus step, and you end up attacking with Optimus a lot in alt mode until kind of the teetering ends of the game. So like, you know, you still have a 3 armor Optimus that they have to run into, or like you have a Brawn with tough 1 that they have to run into. The whole point of this is to protect at all costs your Perceptor, because there are going to be turns where they're going to try and run a Perceptor, and you'll be like, nah, I'm just going to step forward, take a hit, and then my guy's going to build longer. It's a really solid card in this deck. We have 1 Espionage, 1 Reprocess. Alright, and then this is where it gets a little weird. We have 3 Steady Shots. We have 1 New Orders. Alright, the rest of these cards are all brand new. The New Orders, anyone that's watched stream, they could know that I'm pretty confident, like, every game I played this card, I've won. It's incredible. Like, whenever you get to untap Brawn and swing Brawn in again, and then force them to run it again, and all of a sudden you now have like a full health Optimus and a full health Perceptor going into like wheel turns. It's a blowout. You just capitalize on damage way too much, and it's like way over the top good, and it's actually really really fun to do. Also, steady shots are a blue black pip. You know, it's not leap into battle, but once again with Brawn you need pip colors. So you can see here there's a ton of blue up here, you know, and then there's a blank. But these cards are where we start to show, and some of these more, you'll start to see it more, where we're getting into those colors where we have a black, we have blue blacks, we have greens, we have white greens. Earlier, you know, you saw the blue greens, you saw the orange greens, you saw whites, blue orange, green orange, blue green. You know, like it's one of those, like, you need a good amount of pip colors to get Brawn into that Pierce 3, Pierce 4 mode, because that's where you want him to be. All right, and then we're gonna finish out our actions with a lot of our new stuff. That's basically the rest of the deck is all new cards, and we'll get into a bit while we're playing some of these new cards. And a lot of them, don't get me wrong, is to test them, but they also have purpose. So we have a scouting mission, a counter espionage, a spy Masters Ruse, a belligerence, and 2 master Metallicados. This is the list that I've been currently playing. These are the cards that I was originally testing out. There definitely are newer cards that I want to get in there. When I first started building this deck, it was before the last few cards were previewed. So there's definitely some other newer cards I would like to add in, but this is just where I started. The scouting mission, once again, it's like another it's a 4th blue-black, just to have a blue in the deck to defend with correctly, and then have the black pip also, because the extra pierce. You know, whenever you attack with Brawn, and it's like, okay, I have 3 pierce 4 already. And so if all you need is an orange, and boom, you have, you know, 4 pierce 5, and if you have an attack damage on them, this is how you get to those numbers where you want to be, where you're going to get to those pierce 4, pierce 5, pierce 6 numbers, is because of blue blacks and stuff like that. Counting espionage, it just seems like a solid card. There are definitely times when you get to look and you get to take away secret action, great. And if you don't take away secret action, well, guess what? Maybe you just take away their action that you know that they took back. Because maybe they're playing Perceptor, and you get to give them their cards. You're like, okay, well, you chose those 2 cards. I will get rid of one of them that I know is in your hand, and it makes a difference. You know, it's across the board just a very situational card, but once again, it hits that 1-of mark, where in this deck you can really freely get away with it. A, it's a green, so it's a green-black, so that helps with our Brawn, and then B, it's a green, so we can get whatever I want, and then C, it's a 1-of, which you can also get with Perceptor whenever you want. Nextly is our Spy Masters Ruse. This card is it's a newer addition to the deck. I haven't played a ton of games with it, but it's really about that step forward. If you can set up a line of plays where you have the step forward and you get the Ruse back, and you can just set the Ruse, set the step forward, and then wait until you absolutely need to, that's when this card can be incredibly stellar, incredibly powerful. And it's going to be really good. And then there are also, maybe out of the board, there's other secret actions that you can get away with playing that will also change this card's value in the deck. Right now, it's just hey, let's get this on the table and let's wait until we feel like we need it. Because there are plenty of PTTs and stuff like that going around. So, like, you know, it's really bad when you, like, set a good secret action and then they take the PTT turn and they run in with a little Titan Master. You're like, oh, that doesn't do me anything, so I don't want to have to use it. So this card gets around all that. It keeps your guys safe and it keeps your guys protected, and that's a big deal. The belligerence in this deck with the mixed pip color decks, it's perfect. It really can turn in certain attacks into blowout attacks, which is it's very, very important sometimes in those blue matches, because we're sitting in this weird mid-rangey spot where we're this mixed pip color deck, so like it's sometimes hard to get damage in on straight blue decks, and then, you know, it's also sometimes hard to live against certain aggro decks. So that's why when a card like this is a hedge card against anything that's blue, because you're like, oh, okay, well, I have my innate bold from Optimus, I'm going to swing with my guys, I'm going to get high attacks, and I have enough blues in my deck that I can flip blues, and now they turn into orange myself, and that's pretty powerful. And my last card is Master Metallicado. The melee thing is important. Both of our characters, our Optimus and our Brawn, are both melee in alt mode. They are in alt mode for the majority of the game. Very, very heavy majority of the game. But the biggest thing here is it's a 3-pip color. So once again, when you flip this, as soon as you attack with Brawn and you flip this, that's Pierce 3 right there. You're already at Pierce 3, so you're already at 3 Pierce 3. That's all you need is this card. Boom. Done deal. There are some other options that I could think of that you could consider, but this is one of the cards that I wanted to heavily test in the format. Because the other thing is once again, you have that bold. So even now when you play this on Brawn, now all of a sudden your Brawn is 3 plus your pip color for attack plus the pierce, and all of a sudden now your Brawn might get to like 7 Pierce 4, 7 Pierce 5, like numbers like this. If you hit a white, like you can get to 7 Pierce 7 with cards like this, or even higher, and it's a really, really strong card to play. I've been having a lot of fun with this deck on stream. You can definitely catch the games up on VectorSigma.Info at YouTube, and if you want to see the deck in action, they'll definitely be there. But it's been a ton of fun. This has probably been my current favorite Perceptor deck that I've built personally, and it's been a lot of fun. Thanks for listening, guys. Have a good day.